welcome back to Brashonomics. I am lucky to be here with Katie Muñoz of Moving Forward. We talk about the ability for a team earlier, the Seahawks, to be so good. But, before they got good again, looking back from our Super Bowl years, they had to rebuild or downsize a little bit. They had to get rid of some of the old parts in order to bring the new guys in. And, first of all, welcome, Katie. How are you?
Well, thanks. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're happy to have you. And I'm talking with Katie Muñoz, owner of Moving Forward, who includes relocation and downsizing, decluttering, emptying the house, and project planning. And, Katie, well, when the Seahawks started to get a little bit older, they got rid of some of the older players. Now, not necessarily we're going to get rid of the older people, but there is some elements of seniors who don't maybe need the big house, the big, all the stuff. Tell us a little bit about senior downsizing and how that works.
Well, it can be a really overwhelming job if you decide that you are ready to move out of a huge house you've lived in for years and you want to go to a retirement community. It's a lot of advantages. You don't have to cook your own meals, shovel your own sidewalk, deal with the roof adventures. But you got all that stuff to deal with, and that's tough. And it can be really overwhelming for a family. What we can do is as much or as little as they need, but we can help them sort out what to take, do a floor plan so they know what's going to fit in their new place. We can do all of the packing. We can arrange for a reputable moving company. They can skip moving day. They can come back that night when it's unpacked, put away, the beds are made, and the towels are out.
So really, that is, of course, the very stressful part of moving.
That's the hard part. The easy part's carrying the boxes up and down the stairs.
So if you talk about this being overwhelmed, then how are families overwhelmed with the move or the decluttering? I mean, what's the overwhelming part? What's the part that just, people are like, wow, this is too much?
Typically, it's sorting out what to take. And what frequently happens is the kids are all in there trying to help. So you've got 2 or 3 sons, daughters saying, so Mom, do you want this? Mom, do you want to take this? Who can make decisions under that kind of pressure? Or one of the big mistakes I see is they'll say, Mom, don't tell me the story. I know you roller these ice skates the night you met Dad, but just do you want the ice skates or not? And the problem with trying to make them not tell the story is they need the story to put the skates in context so they can decide whether they want them or not. If you let them tell the story to somebody that already knows the story, it takes 3 times as long. Because
kids have so much patience with their parents, you mean?
Well, the kids aren't listening that well. The parents still trying to get that emotional response, so they keep doing it over and over, and everybody gets frustrated. And this is where if you get the third party in there, we can listen to the story about the ice skates and immediately go, wow, you mean you met your husband that night with these skates on? Yeah. And then all of a sudden they say, I don't think I need these skates. Just right like that, they can put it in context. And they know they've got the pictures from that night. Maybe they won a ribbon for the skating competition that night. They can keep the small things. The skates don't really matter, but they need that reflection of the emotions to make the decision.
So is that really something that, and I know, my grandmother got moved into a smaller home. But I know that the kids went through it, and then the grandkids went through it, and it's a lot of stuff, and I think you're saying, the skates, the dish, the plates, yes, the candlestick, the table, the couch, the throw pillows. I mean, there's umpteen million choices that have to be made.
Yeah, it's tough, and frequently people will start with the most difficult strategy, which is stand in the middle of the most cluttered place and say, oh, what can I do without? Well, that's an impossible question to answer. It's so much easier if you say, okay, what do I use the most? Just in furniture, what do I use the most? The bed, the dresser, the nightstand. Then you can come and work up into the floor plan. When you're out of room, then you don't really need to decide about the sewing machine.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not what you want to get rid of. You get to, you're going to keep 25 things.
Yeah.
Start ranking them. We are here with Katie Muñoz, owner of Moving Forward. Katie, so do you need to be a senior? Is that who you typically help? Is that kind of demographic?
Well, we do help seniors a lot, and that's how I got into it when I had to help my mom move and realized how incredibly overwhelming that was. But since then, we've realized that busy executives enjoy having the move just happen, tell me when it's over, people with young kids. You don't have to be any particular age. If you'd like our help, we're glad to come in and help. Maybe it's just the packing, the delicate items for you. Whatever you need, we want to make it happen. We want to make it smooth.
So what is typically that? I mean, I guess, if you're busy, if you're a professional, you're busy and you're like, hey, look, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Somebody else do this, right? But when you are a senior, which, it sounds like you work with a lot of seniors, that was kind of the catalyst to your business. What do those phone calls look like? I mean, how does somebody approach you? Is it, hey, mom's getting old, eventually, we're going to need your services? Or is it kind of like, hey, boom, we need you here tomorrow?
We get both of those. It's the people that plan ahead. We really appreciate those people, but there are those occasions when maybe mom has said, no, I like living here. No, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. And then she trips, falls, breaks an ankle, and she can't climb the stairs anymore. The bedroom's on the upstairs. The bathroom's on the downstairs. What are you going to do? She can't go home. And so we get called in frequently when somebody's in the hospital or skilled nursing, and they've been there a while, they're recovered. And the typical thing is they don't tell you in skilled nursing when they're going to release you. It's like, oh, we'll check in next Thursday. Oh, we'll check in next Thursday. Well, then next Thursday comes, oh, well, I think we'll release her this Saturday. And the whole family's going, now what?
Right, just the stress of that alone, let alone deciding on the ice skates. So
we do get calls like that. We had one, the most extreme. I hope we don't have to go through this again, but it made a good story. We got a call Friday morning, the day before New Year's Eve, and it's like, this lady is on a cruise ship. They finally got her to walk out of the house. She had a lot of dementia, a lot of confusion. And they were going to bring her back from the cruise ship into her new apartment, just direct. Well, they had everything set up except they kind of forgot about moving her stuff over there. So Friday morning, we get the call. She's getting off the boat at 11 o'clock Sunday morning, New Year's Day. Katie, can you do it? I was like, oh, my gosh. So I rallied the troops, and we did. It was 49 hours from the phone call to completion. And it was a hoarded house on top of that. Oh,
we love talking about hoarders on our show in a sick way. It's
very interesting.
It is. It's interesting. When you, and it's amazing because people hoard so many different things. And we talk about real estate and we talk about finances, and it's interesting what people will cling on to.
It is very interesting. We really, really like working with hoarders. They tend to be highly educated, very interesting, very involved people. And there's great stories around these things. And frequently when they have somebody that comes in a non-judgmental sense, they really can get it to work better for themselves. We can't fix it for everybody. We're never going to come in and be the bad guy. No, you don't get to keep this.
Right.
But we can help if you want to get it under control and make your house more functional. We're glad to do that.
We do have about a minute left. What's the most expensive mistake people are commonly making when they try to help somebody downsize?
Oh, gosh. What they don't realize is there's not a big market for furniture and high-end dishes right now. So they'll go in and they'll try to clear out all the clutter before mom moves. And then all they're left with is the furniture and the high-end dishes. Then you call in an estate sale firm and they say, where's all the clutter? You can't have an estate sale unless there's a whole lot of clutter. That's where the money is, the doodads, the knickknacks, the books, the kitchen gadgets, the tools, even old broken costume jewelry, everything. You don't throw anything out. So that's the mistake I see people make, and it's the way you would do it when you're younger, but you don't want to do that when somebody's leaving behind most of a house full of stuff. You want to leave everything there so the estate sale can come in and sell the whole thing.
I think it's funny that you bring up china or like nice dishes because, when we go over to my parents' house, it's always, we're going to eat on like the nice dishes. And I'm thinking, who has nice dishes anymore? Like, it seems silly, and all of a sudden you got to be more careful, and you still use the same fork and knife and drink out of the same glass. We got some hand-painted nonsense of a dish that nobody wants to break. Just kidding, Mom. Love your dishes. Thanks so much for joining us, Katie. Really do appreciate it. We do have to go to break, but when we come back, Charlie Carter will join us. We'll be back after this break.